Okay, all right. So we are online, live on both our platforms on StreamYard as well as Instagram. Hello to all our viewers watching us from all the different platforms. We are here on episode number 22. Can you believe it? We are almost inching to our quarter century, and it's been a long journey where we have had different kind of people who have been there with us in this journey, and both of us sharing our life experiences and all the tips that we share in our training with our clients, so that everybody who is associated with Educate to Elevate becomes a magnet of success. And in that same mission, today we are going to talk about a very important topic, that is scarcity mindset. Not very many people pay heed to this, concept of scarcity mindset. Yet we would like to tell you that it is very crucial, because our entire personality is formed in a positive or a negative way if we have a scarcity mindset, or the opposite of it if we have an abundant mindset. Be it our success in terms of our professional life, our personal life in relationships, our own self development. If we have a scarcity mindset, it acts as a stumbling block in our progress, in our success. Nandaji, over to you. What would you like to tell about this concept of scarcity mindset?
So, hello everybody, good evening, and it's so lovely being here with everybody to begin the day talking about how one can get over. For me, where I am, my day is beginning. That's why I said begin the day, or even for everybody else who's ending the day, to have this time for reflection of how to move towards an abundance mindset away from scarcity. So, what really causes scarcity? What is it that happens that makes us feel that, you know, mm, there is not enough? This very feeling of that there is not enough, this perception of that the resources may not last, is what causes corporates, because they want to have, like a pressure built up to create the scarcity so that everybody is moving forward with competition. This kind of mindset has been encouraged, and then it goes all across, and it makes people feel that, oh, there is not enough that is there. This leads to competition, this leads to jealousy. Unfortunately, it also leads to low cognitive performance.
Absolutely.
Constantly living in this kind of a state of mind can cause for us to have a lower IQ also. It can cause for us to feel chronic anxiety. There's so much and more. Why don't you share some more things, aspects, Anwar Uzma?
Yes, Nandaji, very true. And in fact, this point that you said, that people who have grown with scarcity mindset, they have lesser IQ. In fact, a lot of research has been done on it, and a lot of statistics show this thing as well. And Nandaji, I feel like, to best visualize and understand what scarcity mindset is, what comes to my mind is that if we all go back to our childhood and remember playing that game, though we play it nowadays also in our parties and all. But how it began, actually unintentionally, unconsciously, was as kids when we used to play musical chair, and every round there used to be an anxiety that one chair is going to be less.
Become less.
There ain't going to be enough chair for us. We are going to lose on to it. So we all have experienced that anxiety, that fear suddenly, oh my God, somebody will snatch my chair. I may get out, this and that. And I actually felt that that game is such a beautiful and realistic example to explain scarcity mindset, whatever goes through us, when we feel that. and somehow, if we see, Nandadi, isn't that the very first stage that actually sows the seed of scarcity mindset in a kid, to believe what Stephen Covey said, who, coined this term, that the pie isn't enough. Nandaji, what
Yes,
would you like to say?
the minute you said about this party, it got to my mind a very similar situation. So this is a real life story. So there was a party up where all the young kids were invited and they all went for that. And then they played the musical chairs. Okay. And this was a game where, like you rightly said, that it's one chair is going to become less. So that fear was inculcated that it's not going to be enough. Immediately, that was probably the last game in the party, and after that, they were to go for their little snacky thing for little children, whatever they had, cake, sandwiches, and etc. So this little girl who's waiting in the line starts getting the fear that the cake will not be there for me by the time my turn comes. And unfortunately, it so happened, despite having planned the party so well with so many children in mind and everything, exactly at the time when that child's turn came, the cake for some reason got over because earlier one slice had fallen down or something had happened. And she attracted this thing to herself. So, this again is a huge thing that, we are so caught up with that, not there, not there, not there, that the not there actually starts happening. I was reading about a research that said, Coach, that, it's not that people are poor because of poor decisions. They are poor because they are overwhelmed with that, you know, scarcity,
Scarcity.
the resources not being there, and because of which they're so focused on the short term that they're unable to move their minds into long term planning and get out of
Absolutely.
this. Over to you.
Yes, and that's why it is also said that, that mind is everything. What you think, you become. This line truly, you told in this example of the party because the person was constantly thinking about the kid that the cake will get over, and he or she attracted that thing, and it happened. And the same happens in terms of, scarcity mindset. And I feel, if we see now, people might feel, I don't know. I mean, I have scarcity mindset or I don't. I really want to say a few things which we often say to ourselves, Coach Nanda, or we hear other people saying. And that kind of is a reality check to all the audience who are watching us to understand that, are we living with the scarcity mindset or not? So I'll just say a few statements, and if you want to add, you can add on to it. I feel I can't afford this is a very common statement that we say is one of the signs of thinking that the person is in scarcity mindset, or I'm not good enough to do this. When you get some good opportunity, you have that scarcity about your own talent and your caliber. Then I don't deserve this. There is so much competition. Cannot get this job. I don't have enough resources to do this. You know everything. Like, a lot of clients of ours say this thing when they are completely externally driven. So this statement comes so many times in our coaching sessions. Coach Nanda, if you remember that, I don't have the enough resources, and I always end up overspending. My partner or my family doesn't give me the attention I need. So if you as an audience have some time or the other, or it is quite often that you say this thing to yourself, or this comes as the sentence in most of the conversations, then it's time to really accept the fact that yes, you are living with a scarcity mindset. What do you think, Nandadi, about this?
I completely agree. People are so focused into what is there or not there just now that they think that this is going to be true like for a lifetime. If you are aware of this, which of course all of us are, is that people uh, default on payments, whether it is bills to be paid, whether it is bank loans to be paid, the installments to be paid, the EMIs to be paid. When they run into a little trouble, they feel that it's okay to not pay the bills because it's more important to make sure that there is food at home, your basic survival is there. But unfortunately, what happens is that when you don't keep up with your bill payments, and in the long run, you will see that even your basic needs of food may get affected because the bills
Yes.
will start multiplying. So, this mindset can cause issues everywhere. This is actually an economic term, the scarcity. That
Yes.
it was created when there was, not enough supply as against the demand. And slowly, slowly, over a period of time, this became a part of our day-to-day living. And we
And
start have,
let's not, yeah. Yeah, please,
sorry,
Nandaji, continue.
no, and I said we have started living that life then.
Yes.
That there are not enough resources, that there is not enough. So, I also feel that that's because we are so caught up in looking at the whole in a donut that we do not see all that is around. Over to you.
True. And I was saying the biggest live example of this thing that we all somehow are suffering or living with scarcity mindset is that we have seen it in pandemic. Like the time when people were hoarding toilet papers, Nandaji, remember? That madness and mania that happened. What was it? It was our scarcity mindset coming out,
Absolutely,
you know
absolutely.
because it was not that there was shortage of resources during the time of pandemic. It was just that the production was slower, but that fear that everything will get over, that came out, it magnified to a level that people started fighting in the malls and holding things up. So that shows that we all have that kida of scarcity mindset in
Yeah,
us.
in fact, more than even the production being slower, which happened later into the pandemic, because obviously every industry makes sure that they have enough resources to last them, for about a year or more. So it was actually not even as much the fear that the production is slow. So it was also that the only reason that was that transportation for some reason they were not allowing
Yeah.
inter travels and all that in the initial stages. Other than that, I think everything was moving beautifully. But like you rightly pointed out, total with getting overwhelmed with this feeling of scarcity and not seeing that there is so much and more. Even for groceries, you if you stock what you need maybe for a week, 10 days is understandable, but to stock for 6 months and keep, to stock for 3 months and keep, and when people started stocking like this, they created an artificial scarcity. And then
Yeah.
others who went late or who were standing behind in the line were the ones who suffered. Till again, there was a restriction that was gotten to say that no, rationing was done, that okay, we cannot give so much to every family. A one family, it has everybody has to be considered. So I so agree with you when you say that that was like a real life experience that we all have. So I was talking to this lady, and she said that I lost my husband. We were just, she had come for some issue, and she was talking about it. And I happened to, point out that we need to move to a mind of abundance to feel. So she says, I've lost my husband. I have two young kids. There is no money. And it's like, I don't feel gratitude in anything. I'd like for you to share, how do you feel that this gratitude can really helps, or something that you'd like to share about gratitude?
Yeah, thank you, Nandaji. In fact, when you lose the loved one, I think that is one of the times when you develop a scarcity mindset at the spiritual level. Here, before actually talking about gratitude, I also want to share with our audience that do not feel that scarcity mindset it's only related to being stingy, or it's about material resources or money. But scarcity mindset happens at different levels, and in fact all the levels. If
All
we
the
see the
levels.
wheel of our life, where we talk about relationships, we talk about career, money, emotions, spiritually, everywhere. So usually when we lose somebody, we tend to get that scarcity mindset at the level of the spiritual level, like where we are actually blaming the destiny, and we are questioning our faith. We have that distrust towards the creator or god, that that things are not going to be in my favor. I mean, why does god do this? If god wants everybody, we are the children of god, then why is he, or creating these problems in our life? So all these things happen, and that is the time. And I would say, when I lost my father, even I developed this thing. I had a lot of resentment, and I felt that it was very unfair, and I started questioning the faith, and all those things. But then I had the transformation where I started practicing gratitude, and I realized that it's actually a life changer, Nanaji. The moment you start being thankful about the things that you have, when your focus changes from what you don't have to the things that you have, your life becomes amazing. And I can say this not only in words. It's been more than a year that I have been every day religiously practicing gratitude. Every day in the morning, the first thing that I do is I write at least 5 to 7 things I'm grateful about in life. And in the last episode, when we were discussing, I said that there are times when I feel literally shitty about my existence, also. But then also, I take time, I calm myself, I make sure that I write something that I'm grateful about. And, you know, I was not that much in the habit, Nandaji, but now I make sure that I say Alhamdulillah, every time. And I can see that actually I cannot explain it in words, but it is actually helping me kind of it sometimes. I've not shared this thing. Miraculously, things have happened. I'll tell you, Nanaji, I was upset because of a certain thing related to work only, that the thing was not cracking up. Still, I said Alhamdulillah and gratitude to God. I shared, and hours within hours I got a good news. Literally, I had goosebumps. And this happened because, and I would give the entire credit to my being grateful and bringing gratitude, despite the fact that the external scenario and situations did not seem to be positive or in something that I expected it to be. So I feel that the gratitude literally changes your energy for the entire day. And maybe in 1 or 2 3 days you do not realize, but if you do it continuously, you will see how things change and how you are able to
Great.
attract abundance in your life. I'm sure you'll have the same thoughts, Nandaji. What would you like to say?
Yeah, exactly. And it is said that when you are feeling, like the scarcity and you're not being grateful or you're not expressing gratitude, wise men have said, it's probably even mentioned in the Bible, that what you have will also be taken away from you. And people
Yeah.
started thinking that, oh, the rich will become richer and the poor will become poorer. But the reference was to, if you have gratitude, you will have so much more flowing to you. And if you're not able to have gratitude, what you have will also get taken away. Excuse me. So when I first heard this, excuse me. So when I first heard this, I thought that, you know, doesn't make sense to me. And then there was a situation in my life where I was so overcome with negativity about a particular situation. And we had gone to a movie. My husband took me to a movie that then, and he felt that the movie will probably, watching, it'll be a distraction and I'll feel better. It didn't do anything good. In fact, that negativity had built up to such an extent that after I left the movie, I realized that I was wearing a ring, or a gold diamond ring in my little finger, and that had fallen off. It was not
Oh my
loose,
God.
it was nothing, but it had fallen off. So, again, that feeling just got magnified that, see, I told you, like I'm destined to be unlucky or all kinds of things that came up at that point of time. I'm talking about more
True.
than 25, 30 years ago. And immediately, I don't know, this thing echoed in my ears and said, just be thankful for everything else you have, and you see how things will shift and change. And my husband also said the
Absolutely.
same thing. He put his arm around me and he said, Arey, what is a ring? I'll buy you so much more. I'm here for you, na. And maybe in that moment, it changed the feeling. And then I realized that there's so much and more to be grateful for. And after that, I think things just stopped going in the negative direction. It headed towards a more positive. So, this thing about what you were sharing, that gratitude can really. So, while we hear what this lady said, that, like, I want to say to her that, yes, we hear you, but I also want to say that this is my real life sharing, that this is what had happened. So, don't be so
Yes,
focused on short term and feel that things are not going to happen. Everything changes, and this is also going to
absolutely.
change.
Yes. And when you said this thing, Nandaji, I really agree to you that our power of thoughts, whatever we think, it is so powerful. People, I have a lot of people, I've heard people who feel, okay, what is this law of attraction? I don't believe in this. How it can happen? But then there are so many practical examples, and in our own life, you and I mean, how did we manifest to become TEDx speakers? We did it because we had, thought about it. As I remember that word you used in Urdu, that Usman niyat band ke chalte hain, and it is going to happen, and we made a vision board, and out of
Absolutely.
nowhere it happened. I mean, we thought it will be in our 5 years plan to be like that, when we were discussing that we both love public speaking, and how we have spent so many years of our life training people to become public speakers, and TEDx is one stage. I think we were in our sessions of coaching only, and we were like, oh, we both like the same thing, we both have the same aim. I remember that.
I
and
know. And
it happened. Yes.
yeah, over here, sorry for interrupting. I will say that uh, niyat in Urdu, in English, means intention. So it is said
Yes,
that when you have an intention and you put attention on your intention, then whatever you
yeah,
want, there is manifestation. So it is so
absolutely.
beautiful that, we can lead our lives like that. Everything begins at the thought level.
Yes,
Anything, whether it is, the scarcity mindset, abundance mindset, whatever it is that you are feeling, first begins at the thought level. So being in awareness of your thoughts is among the first things to become aware of, so that when you
absolutely.
are trying to work towards an abundance mindset, you start becoming aware of what are the thoughts that are taking you away, that from
Right,
this, from achieving what you set out to do. So this was
absolutely.
a beautiful, sharing that we had about gratitude. That yes, it can make us feel that when you lose a loved one, when you lose a job, like somebody else was sharing that the whole world is kind of shrinking in terms of the the diseases, in terms of jobs not being there. This whole pandemic has affected people. Obviously, there's a feeling of going to be a feeling of scarcity that's going to be there. So while we hear all these sharings that people have, we would like to say that this happens because, again, it's our thought that is making it feel that, there is not going to be enough.
And I want to hear, Nandaji, the point that you said, that first of all, getting that awareness of those thoughts which are actually making you stop, or, they're acting as the stumbling block to make you, go on the path of a positive or a growth mindset. Once we have identified those scarcity mindset thoughts which are hovering around in our mind, the next thing I think that we should constantly keep doing in terms of the thought processes to have that mindset shift is that we should ask that, does your scarcity mindset do anything good to you or the people you love? I think this question is a game changer, and if you ask this thing, you know the answer that you're going to get if you're honest to yourself, and you will be able to realize, right, I've been harping, or I've been clutching to this thought and mindset that I am having, and what good is it doing to me? Nothing. And then write down what does it take away from you. Because as you know, innermost shift coaches, as ICF coaches, we in fact have this very beautiful tool that we often use on our clients, which helps them talk about the gains and the pains of any situation, especially when people are making any kind of decision. So this tool works properly, beautifully, in fact, I would say. So when you actually try to, and we take the client to a level when we talk about the pain situation, that I remember, if you remember, when we had that a fellow coach of ours, when we were doing that tool on her, she literally had a migraine thinking about all the pains that are going to happen if she remains with that, in that negative situation where she was. So it's very necessary that when you are identifying and questioning that scarcity mindset, limiting belief that you have, you must note down what does it take away from you, starting from your
True.
relationships, your happiness, your emotional fitness, your peace of mind, literally the things that you are attracting to yourself, the negativity, what all is there, to a point that you really feel, oh my god, this is really giving me a lot of pain. I need to let go of this belief that I've been you know having impregnated in my mind for such a long time. So if you use this tip, this tool, this is going to really help you get that shift from a scarcity mindset to an abundant mindset. What do you feel, Annaji?
I completely agree. Just becoming aware of what is it going to cost us. And I'm going to kind of put it into words and say chronic illness, chronic stress and anxiety, lower IQ, which I mentioned earlier also. When you're so focused on what is happening in the now and are not
Yeah,
able to move yourself a little bit away from that, it's affecting your health, it's affecting your mental, your cognitive abilities. There's so much and more that happens that in the end, the reasons that we were talking about scientifically, these are the reasons that how these things affect your mind, and then eventually because of this you're not able to perform, and there is lack of performance, and you end up feeling that, okay, see, what I thought turned out to be true. So while thoughts also
true.
attract, it also happens that when you're not able to allocate your inner resources, we're looking at the outside resources and feeling, okay, there's a scarcity, but your inner resources of
Absolutely.
feeling that things can change, I have the ability, I have the confidence, that not being able to even focus on your own abilities, your own resources. These are the
Yes.
things that actually start happening to people, and then they feel that, okay, they have lost out. So
Yeah.
it is so important that you start looking at the things that you lose out, and then bring in, the things of, if you had to do this and move away from this, how you're going to benefit in the long run.
Absolutely.
Another beautiful thing that, as ICF coaches, we have also, helped our clients with is looking at your life like a movie and seeing all these situations that are happening, and then,
Absolutely.
moving it, uh, deleting it out of your consciousness, and instead of that, filling it up with more productive, more positive thoughts that can take you towards fulfillment, isn't it?
Yes, I think that's actually a very beautiful NLP tool, Nandaji. And we often do it on our clients in our workshops also, where we help them remove those, phases of life and all those limiting beliefs or scarcity that they have, and help them actually create those positive beliefs for themselves so that they can move towards the abundance mindset. I feel, Nandaji, in the same way, when you were talking about the resources part, what got me thinking that often we forget our own strengths, even when we are
Exactly.
training our when we are training the young leaders, especially for their interview skills and all. remember when we were having the that 2 days workshop in one of the renowned colleges and universities of Delhi. When we asked the students that question, that when were supposed to share their strengths, a lot of kids had that difficulty in telling, maybe one or two, or those, cliche that we hear from Google. Nobody was able to come up with a unique strength of theirs. So I feel taking out time to time, maybe if you are into journaling, writing what are your skills, not only in terms of technical skills, but maybe the soft skills, maybe the people skills that you have in terms of your friendship and relationships and the strengths that you have, recalling it, making yourself believe that, and writing it down. In fact, when you have that physical proof in front of you and you take out time and you see it and you actually feel proud of it, I think that really helps, as I think a tip. Because when you said inner resources, it just clicked me that I remember that workshop, and I thought that this point is really important, because the internal scarcity that we have for our own personality and for our own skills, when we feel that I don't deserve this, I'm not good enough, this particular activity is going to really help you out to bring that abundance within you, when you can feel that yes, I am enough and I have all the capabilities to get whatever I deserve and whatever I dream for. And in
You know,
fact, I all yeah, please, Nandaji, you
no,
tell.
sorry for the interruption. Uzma, if you remember, every time we take a session on interpersonal relationship, when we are told to take a session on interpersonal relationship, both of us focus on intrapersonal relationship as to your
Yes,
relationship with yourself. Because
absolutely, yes.
do you love yourself? Do you have those thoughts and ideas about yourself? Or are you only focused on the outside, looking at how
True.
everybody else has it and you don't have it? Because each of us has got special abilities, special skills that maybe somebody else doesn't have. But we only look at what somebody else has and feels, I don't have it. So, what is our
Yes.
relationship with ourselves? Do we love ourselves? Do we value ourselves? Are we confident? These are the things, if we lack in our life because of our preconceived notions of, you know, our narratives or our mental constructs, then what happens is scarcity mindset sets in. What do you feel? I'm sorry I
True.
interrupted you. You're sharing something.
No, no, that point was complete. I was coming to the next one. So this was actually a beautiful culmination to that point. And I would like to say thank you, Varesha. She has said, well said, Coach Nanda. So absolutely. Whatever she says, she always says well. So
Yeah, it's like that's the way Uzma and me work. We so strongly believe that every relationship that you have on the outside with the world outside, whether you're failing in your
yes,
relationships with your boyfriends, with your husbands, with your family, let us take a
it's
look
the lack from
within.
within.
Yes, that's
Yes.
what both of us believe in. Over to you, coach.
Yeah, in relationships, Nandaji, like this scarcity mindset is so much, I think, underrated, yet it is so important. And people do not realize that this is actually one of the root causes of relationships to break, because the person has the lack in within, the scarcity in within, that the person is not able to give that to the relationship. And everything goes good, every the loyalty is there, the love is there, the trust is there, but because of this mindset, the jealousy, the enviness, or the insecurity, it keeps cropping up in between, and incident. I mean, these result in relationships to fail. Having said that, I want to circle back to the point of when we were talking about the belief system or the mindset of scarcity that we have. Um, I feel one more tool that we often apply to help our clients. So most of the time, these belief systems, these are basically, it becomes limiting at the point when they start hampering us. Otherwise, it's a belief. Like in our childhood, if somebody betrayed us as a friend, so we made this belief that it's not good to trust somebody. So that time, it was a good belief for us. But then when it magnified and it reached an extreme where we started mistrusting everybody, that we became so skeptical that we could not even open up to anyone who actually has good intentions for us, then it turned into a limiting belief. So I feel in the same way, when we have all these scarcity mindsets, I feel we should write it. For example, if we take an example of a common money based, negative or scarcity mindset, if somebody is about rich people, so you can just jot down rich people are, and write down all the negative thought that rich people are, they cut corners, they are dishonest, they are self-centered. I am poor because my circumstances are not good, my family was this way. I mean, I was day before yesterday only, Nandaji, I was talking to one of my relatives, in fact, and I was discussing this fact only, that we people, our way of handling money is not correct. We have been grown in this middle class thought process of just hoarding the money, but we do not understand the things that we consider as our assets. They are our liabilities. We think our house is our asset, but we are spending money on it, so it's not an asset, it's a liability. So I said we need to think of ways to make money, put in our money in something that creates more money. And then that person suddenly started speaking, you don't understand, Uzma, it's easier for you to say, because we started from the point we were very poor, we came from negative to positive. I said, I understand what you are saying, uncle, but what I'm trying to say is that when from negative you reached a point when you were at the neutral one, small steps could have been taken so that now we could have reached a situation that things would have been better. But I feel that was so strongly ingrained that the person was not ready to accept, and it made that person feel. And even today, the situation, despite the fact the person is in a very good government job, the spouse is also earning, the person has some extra income as well, always is under debt. Why? Because the mindset is in scarcity. So,
Yeah.
I'm poor because writing everything, money is hard to get. So, when you write all these negative thoughts, ask why at every stage, and ask why 5 times. Rich people are cunning. Why? Because of this thing. Okay, why? Because of this thing. No, because this happened. Because at the end, you'll reach the depth of it and you'll realize that everything that you have thought till now is superficial. It's just a mere thought or a belief system that you maintain, which does not hold water. It's not something which is universal. It depends on situation to situation. So when you take up any belief that you are holding to which is limiting, ask why 5 times to it, and you'll be able to break that limiting belief beautifully. Nandaji, over to you.
So somebody has messaged me and is asking that how do I know that I am suffering from a scarcity mindset? Because these fears of, losing out or not having enough is there all across. But what are the things to know? So A is when you're feeling jealous or competitive, or when you're
Yes,
feeling that others are having more than I do, or others are lucky, or it's my destiny. So everything that you're speaking or saying, you need to hear and understand that is that really true?
yes,
If we look at if whether we believe in the divine or we don't believe in the divine, but if you look at the larger order of things, and if we feel that we were created, then do we think that our parents would ever do anything less for us? So if we are the creation of the out of the divine, then all of us are going to get what we deserve. Do we ever have this feeling at home when mother is cooking that, oh, will there be enough food for me today? So we this never happens because we are so much trusting that there is always going to be food, even if someone's coming back home late, is not present at the time when there is everybody's having a meal, they still know that there will be food for them at home. So this is the
yes,
kind of trust that we all need to have it in every aspect. Feeling competitive, feeling jealous, feeling is not going to be enough, not sharing. not only not sharing materialistic things, but even not sharing information. So off,
Yes.
so
So
often when Uzma and me are working, there are times when I don't get the time to look up everything, and she exchanged notes with me. If she is held up in something and I have read through, I will make sure that I, send her uh, messages with all the notes that I've made, or I've send her the links where she can catch up. Reducing her work, understanding that she's busy at the moment. We've never had this fear that if I share with her,
yes,
oh, I will have something less, or if she shares it, that somebody I will have something less. Both of us are
absolutely.
so comfortable, and this is a very small thing. In You look at in the corporates, people don't want to share information, thinking that,
I
oh,
was
if
about
I
to say.
if I share
Hmm.
everything, that I will lose out the edge. It is not so. Each time the two of us have shared information with each other, at that moment, maybe we've not had the time to look up, but so much more has come flooding into the mind. And she has shared, just based on what I have shared with her, she's probably shared with me 100 more things. And likewise, I may have had contributions to make with the stuff she shared with me. So instead of feeling that we are going to get left out, we have to understand that sharing only creates a bigger, think tank, a
Yes,
bigger resource tank for the team and for the people. And not being generous. Generous not only in sharing or giving or anything else, just all the time feeling I don't have, I don't have, I don't have. I have a whole life to live. How are we going to manage? People have not lived their entire lives because they've continued feeling with, excuse me, with both husband and wife working, both having fairly decent incomes, having enough and more to save after all the expenses, yet feel that they cannot live their lives or enjoy their lives to the fullest, only and only because of the scarcity mindset. Over to you.
yes. In fact, this is such a beautiful and brilliant point that you raised, Nandaji, about sharing information. I mean, this is one of the biggest problems that leaders are not able to become leaders. We had one entire session on how to be a good leader, and this insecurity that bosses or leaders have, that if we divulge too much to our team or the people who are under us as trainees, they will become better than us, or they will reach higher than us. But and in fact, I would say, I mean, a lot of times, especially when we talk about this coaching business and the education training field, there are a lot of trainers and coaches who feel that let's not give everything that we have, because what if they learn and they do something better than us. But it's also in the personality. You remember, Nanji, we were discussing this thing one day and we had a good laugh that we were thinking of sharing the content with another person, and somebody told us, our business advisor said that it's not good that you should share. And we said it's okay if the person has the content, they don't have a personality to deliver it.
Exactly,
Hmm.
exactly. So, another friend of mine shares the same thing with me, that she said that wherever she's working, they take away all her notes and everything. So I said, you know, and then what happens? So she said, I said, I was checking her feelings and all that. So she said, nothing, I don't feel anything, because they can have the content, but they're not going to be able to deliver it like the way I do. And
Absolutely.
going back to the corporate aspect, another important thing that came up to my mind as you were sharing is, not only are they afraid to share information, leaders are afraid to give credit to
Yes.
their teams. The
True.
fear that, oh, like if I give credit to that person will become important, then there will be no importance of me. But to have stronger, good teams where people are loyal to you and want to follow you, is when you acknowledge their skills, acknowledge their efforts, and publicly, and whenever you're sharing with people, that makes the team feel so much more gratitude towards you and your leadership. That was another very important aspect that I wanted to share about this thing. about how these aspects happen in the corporate world.
So true, Nandaji. And I feel this is something that a lot of people who are in the management level of their organizations really need to understand. And, actually coming to the point of entrepreneurs, I feel a lot of entrepreneurs, when they are having this scarcity mindset, it really affects them in the business. And that's the point where they feel, I mean, I tried everything, I worked hard, why is it that I'm not able to get success? It is because at the grassroots level they are attracting scarcity because their mindset is such. I mean, you remember when we conducted this workshop last year, abundant mindset, we had so many entrepreneurs who joined it. We have a few videos also on our Instagram. You guys can go and see it. I think, where they shared that how they realized that they were going through scarcity mindset, and when they, after the workshop, started practicing abundance mindset, it helped them. So I feel there it's a lot about money, and there I feel somebody who is transitioning. I mean, I would take my own example here, that I have always had that employee mindset because I've done a job throughout my life. My in my family also, everybody has been into job. Nobody has been an entrepreneur. I was the path breaker. But I feel for me, getting into that entrepreneur mindset was very difficult. Had a lot of scarcity, or limiting beliefs around money, I feel initially. But then I feel this point is very important for the people who are trying to develop abundant mindset, is that you start being with people who have abundant mindset. You are around those people who are, who have that thought process. Like, if you read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, so the writer has two dads. One is the biological father, and the other one is the father of the friend. So he
Friend,
started staying more with the friend's father. Why? Because that father had that correct mindset to make money. The other one was educated, he had all the respect, but because he started staying more and started learning all the skills about money from that person, he was able to create money for himself as well. So I feel for me also it worked a lot. I mean, being with you, Nandaji, because you have been a business wellness coach for such a long time, and a lot of other entrepreneurs, friends of mine, I started actually it. I felt that I have changed so much. There are so many little things where, as an with that employee mindset or that scarcity mindset that I had, I would have not thought of spending money on certain things. But then being around with people who have that mindset and understanding how they work with money has changed me a lot. So I feel this is also one way how you can develop abundance mindset, if you start staying in the company of people who have that mindset. What do you feel,
you,
Anadi?
Uzma very rightly said, because when you're an entrepreneur, there is no salary coming to you at the end of the month
Yes,
or end of the week, whichever system is followed. You have to create your own money. To create your own money, you have to take calculated risk. Anybody
true.
who comes from a scarcity mindset will not be able to take risk because they will be caught up in what if? What if this
Yes.
bombs? What if this doesn't work? I've already suffered so much. I will not be able to bear this. They are not able to take the risks that is necessary to go ahead. Why is it that some entrepreneurs, make it so big in life, and while some are still struggling at the, level where they have started maybe 5 years ago or 10 years ago, because this scarcity mindset is so deeply ingrained that they're not able to take risks and move ahead. So there's so much and more. So, like we shared earlier, that when you know so many things are not working for you with a scarcity mindset, understanding this and moving ourselves to an abundant mindset where you know that there is enough and more for everybody to go around. So initially, at
Yes.
the point of time when I was much younger, in terms of spiritual growth, in terms of understanding life and these concepts, I was questioning that, like how, what abundance and what. If we look around, somebody pointed out to me, If we look around, one of my mentors and my masters, that if you look around, we are walking towards, say a store or a place where you can go probably buy fruits and flowers. And if you look around, the trees are all abundant with flowers. All of them are bowing to you and like almost offering flowers to you. Yesterday, a day before, we were just out, trying to get some groceries for the house. As we were leaving, here is a cold country in the US, and at the entrance of the building is a beautiful apple tree, and it was
Wow.
laden with apples. And I was telling my son, I said, just look at this. We walk from here. We do not even express gratitude for this fruit that eventually comes home. It's right there at our doorstep. And we are
Yes,
so busy running around that we do not appreciate things which are all around us. We forget that there's enough and more to go around for everybody. Scarcity, whether it is in terms of monetary scarcity, in terms of employment, are all created to keep up the panic, to keep up the feeling of there isn't enough, so that the competition pushes people, and a certain segment of people who are able to do what they have to do, they make it, and the others, because of their mindset, remain where they are.
true.
What are your
In fact,
sharing?
yes, in fact, Nandaji, when you were talking about the grocery store and all, it just reminded me that, another very common example which, or I would say a pattern of behavior that, we people with scarcity mindset would end up buying cheaper shoes, and they break easily and they would buy again and again multiple one. But it's better to buy one expensive which would actually last longer. In fact, this is something like I would say 4 or 5 years back. I changed my mindset in this thing. Earlier, I was of the thought process of not spending so much, on shoes, going for some brands. And when I actually developed that heel pain that I had, I went, and for me, it was like very expensive. I went to Puma store to buy, a nice sports shoe with that soft sole and everything, and it was exorbitant, I would say. But then, one of my friends said this line which I remembered, and she said, I'll say it in Hindi, that उसमें होता क्या है ना कि हम एक कपड़ा इतनी बार नहीं पहनते हैं, लेकिन एक शू हम बहुत बार पहनते हैं. We would not wear that same top, maybe we'll wear it once a week or in 15 days. But when we buy a shoe, we wear it with all the clothes and we wear it a lot. So it's always good to spend more money on shoes. And that was really nice. I was like, yes, that's true. And it's good actually, to spend that money on good shoe because that's going to be there in your feet. And I felt, of course, I had that panicky thing in my stomach when I was buying it. But then after that, when I started wearing those shoes and it was so comfortable and it went for such a long time, I felt that it was such a brilliant decision that I bought that rather than buying all those, cheaper shoes. So in the same way, I feel doing these small activities can actually help you when you actually feel that, oh my god, how do I actually do this? Okay, we told a few practical tools, but these are small quick tips that you can follow. And in fact, I feel one thing that people should do, I remember you only shared this once, was keeping the amount of money in your wallet that you feel uncomfortable keeping. You should not spend it, but keep it in your wallet until you start feeling comfortable with that much amount of money in your wallet, and then you can slightly increase it. So that is also going to make you feel that no, there isn't scarcity, you have abundance and you are enough. What do you feel? A few quick tips from your side, Nandaji.
Yeah, before we go to the tips, I would like to, I remember a very funny incident that happened very, very many years ago when I started first traveling internationally. ये एक mindset था कि motels are cheaper than hotels. Okay,
Yeah.
hotels बहुत महंगा पड़ेगा. We cannot afford it. They'll be very expensive. We cannot afford going and staying in, living in hotels. And among one of my earlier travels, I checked in into a motel. and ended up paying quite a big amount. And I said, oh my God, yeah, here it was so expensive. So you can imagine how much a hotel would cost. And the next time, out of whatever situation, because there were no motels available or whatever that happened, we had to check in into a hotel which was almost a 4 or 5 star. And literally, I paid only half the money, and I was like, "Oh my God, what is this?" You know. So it's a sharing that I'm say talk. Sharing about how our perception, how our mental construct makes us go away from something that can be so much more comfortable or luxurious because we feel, oh, it'll be expensive. It's our perception. It may or may
Yes.
not be true. So coming to the tips, I would say, like, yes, we earlier in the session spoke about gratitude, and both of us feel that gratitude is such a beautiful aspect to have as one of the tips. Every day being grateful, journaling, all of which Uzma has already shared. I'm just reiterating it again. Then trusting your own self, having confidence in your own ability, knowing that yes, you have got everything that it takes to be successful. You've got everything that you need to achieve as much as anybody else. And there'll always be cake for you. Don't have to worry like the little girl who felt that the cake would get over. There are enough and more cakes going around. So in a party, you can also spend some cake putting it on somebody else's face. So actually, life has enough and more, and it's just that little shift that we need to make and understand that yes, it is going to happen. What else would you like to share?
Well, I just want to sum up this beautiful episode, and I like today it like this 1 hour went so swiftly. I think I thoroughly enjoyed, and I hope the audience did too. And we would like to end this episode on a few affirmations that we would like to give you to attract abundance. And the audience, you can always replay our episode, and then you can jot down these affirmations, and you can repeat it every day and feel it, and this is going to help you attract that abundant mindset and abundance in your life. So the first one is, every rupee I spend comes back
Comes
to
back
me
to me
multifold.
multifold.
Growth opportunities are overflowing all around me. I trust the law of nature and the divine timing. I'm a magnet of boundless energy, happiness, love, and wealth. My vibration is in harmony with the universal positive energy. So take a note of all these affirmations and repeat them, just not like a cramming parrot, but feel it entirely in your body. Take that 5-10 minutes from your day, sit somewhere, close your eyes, or just read it, but read it with feeling that energy, that abundance, that that vibration, that harmony in your entire body, and then repeat these affirmations that we have given you. So on
Or,
this note, we would, yeah, please, Nandaji.
no, I was also saying that instead of feeling that people around us are our competitors are going to take from us, if we bring in the feeling that people around us are contributing to my wealth in terms of
Yes.
knowledge, in terms of money, because it's always the people who are buying from us, it's people who are sharing the knowledge with us. So, this is one more affirmation that you can add, that all the people around me are contributing to my becoming wealthy, having overall wealth. So, yes, on this note, we can say goodbye till we come back
Yes.
again. Over to you, coach.
Yes. Just summing up the episode with, having an abundance mindset is believing that you are created as more than enough, you have more than enough, and you have more than enough coming to you in the future. So, bye bye, everyone. This is Coach Nanda and Coach Uzma signing off. We are going to meet next Thursday. Have a nice weekend.